based on lingerie. So pull your pants up and listen.
Well, it's linked with Marks and Spencer's, which is why I've chosen it. Obviously, it's a true story, and it's called Black on White. Throughout my early life, our family in Liverpool always had a connection with people who supplied or worked for Marks and Spencer's. Uncle Phil, well, he wasn't really my uncle, my father's best friend, was a self-made millionaire through textiles and had a collection of Lowry paintings in both his home in Liverpool and his flat in London near Baker Street, where M&S's headquarters were located. Every Christmas, without fail, his chauffeur, Fred, would drive up our modest suburban drive in the Bentley, bearing the same gifts every year. Pale pink and blue quilted housecoats for me and my mother, and a huge casket of expensive Terrys of York, dark rich chocolates in drawers, and some individually wrapped in gold foil. The posh beige box had a brown monogram and a historic date, perhaps when the company was founded. This casket is no longer made today, but Terrys still make an orange chocolate ball and possibly almonds enrobed with dark chocolate. Those were the days, the 1950s. I recall being ill as a teenager and created some hair combs with colourful velvet ribbons and bows glued onto the combs. Uncle Phil thought the idea was interesting and took all my samples to London for a presentation to Marks and Spencer's. I didn't dare ask for them back and never saw my craft work again. After that, I did not like or trust Uncle Phil from that moment on. Then my parents' best friends fled from apartheid South Africa. Somehow Sonny David landed a top job, you know where, as did my relative Theo Helfet, who settled in Leeds in Yorkshire, the textile centre in the old days of England. He too supplied textiles to headquarters. When I moved to London, my cousin Jack's best friend Harvey welcomed me. On arriving at my flat to take me out for dinner, he happened to go to the bathroom. He returned, quoting all the stock numbers of my flatmate Helga's panties hanging up to dry. Later, one of my Portobello market clients, Bill Blackburn, turned out to be the food manager for the large food hall in the Oxford Street branch, and the Israeli Paldi brothers supplied all the tropical fruits to the food hall. Also, my clients in Portobello Road, where I had my stand for 25 years. One day in the late 80s, the art department at headquarters phoned my company, Retrograph Archive. They wanted inspiration for new soap packaging. How they heard about me and my vast collection of sophisticated packaging and labels from Paris, I never knew. Eventually, I sold them some designs and was invited to the design studio to see their artwork and to meet the head designer. Then I remembered that Nigel Cohn was on the board of directors at headquarters. He was the nephew of my favourite Aunt Eileen, originally from Swansea, who had at one stage of her young life lived with her second cousin, my mother. So in fact she was my third cousin, not my aunt. But I adored this intellectual woman who had married to a South African politician from Durban. When she was widowed, she moved to London to be close to her brother in Hendon, Nigel's father. Over the years, she would talk about her nephew, who I think was in marketing, and had worked his way up the ladder at headquarters. I met him once as a child. So I thought, well, why not visit my cousin while in the same building? I had to make an appointment because he was a VIP up on the 5th floor with the red carpet, so I discovered. A big mistake. The day came and I was warmly received in the design studios. After, they took me for tea and biscuits in the canteen. I was very familiar with M&S's excellent biscuits and scoffed quite a few. Then, later, I was accompanied up to the 5th floor, no doubt for security reasons, and suddenly found I was walking on a red carpet. Was I a VIP too? Nigel was unfriendly, stiff and formal, asking about Aunt Eileen. I could see in a flash that this was going to be a brief meeting, but unfortunately I took off my red and black Spanish poncho and rested my large wet brolly against my chair. I noted he had a fluffy white carpet and wondered if anything ever got spilt on it. White is not exactly a practical colour in an office. The poor man didn't know what to say or ask me. He immediately rang for his PA to bring the coffee. An attractive, slender black woman arrived, carrying a silver-plated tray with an elaborate silver-plated teapot, bone china cups and saucers, and top-of-the-range Belgium-coated chocolate biscuits from their deluxe range on a decorative plate. I don't recall what we spoke about. I was bored out of my mind, and no doubt he had one eye on the clock. Time to depart. The PA was unfortunately called in to remove the tray. Why, oh why, just the exact moment I was lifting my arms to put my poncho over my head, crash! My descending arm must have caught the poor girl carrying the tray. Black on white. I could see Nigel's pained expression. The poor girl rushed out to get a cloth, but the damage had been done. Worse was yet to come. It must have been a wet day because I was carrying a big brolly. Nigel ushered me into the lift, eager, no doubt, to get his unwanted guest off the premises. Somehow my brolly got stuck into another executive already in the lift, straight into his ball. It's really true. I mumbled my apologies with a po face. Nigel was clearly exasperated. Bill Blackburn seemed to be waiting for me downstairs to sign me out and remove me off the premises. I don't remember Nigel saying goodbye. A pleasure to have met you. He was gone from 0 to 5 in a flash. But all these Marks and Spencer's ghosts are dead and buried, including my magician husband's old conjurer friend John Solis, who was a Magic Circle director and on both boards.
I love it.
Very true. I never heard of it. He's probably dead now.
Well, that red carpet was there when I worked there. I ventured up to the 5th floor once.
Oh, you
the red
did?
carpet was still there.
Only once.
They still had their apartments and flats, and the old tray would go through with this silver
Yeah.
stuff on it.
But it was
Yeah.
interesting. I got the deluxe on the top floor, but only got the regular biscuits in the canteen.
Yeah. I never saw that stain though. They must have got the stain out the white carpet.
That poor girl. I tell you, it was split. Talk about split timing.
Anyway, that's really fun. That made me laugh. It's the sort of thing